Hello, hello. We are going to play some games. I think we're gonna start with killer matches. Don't forget to check in. Hi, everybody. We are officially Eerie as a killer. Which is cool. I feel like I've been enjoying playing killer recently. If we... Oh, I don't think I have a second. No, the boxes. Ooh! I don't even know what the tome is. Should we just put it into five? Or no, no. Give you. See how we're already in a game as a killer? I can't help but think we've been waiting there for a survivor match. I love this fit. Look at her. It might be a shark. They're back here. Or main. They're main. They could be across the map. Look at this. Oh, you thought I didn't see you, friend! I'm not gonna waste the Get off my pallet. They got the gen done though, see? See? I see someone. He's hiding. I see him. Oh, they're right here. Oh, I hear Steve. Oh, look up, Justin. What are you talking about? She didn't drop the pallet. I want to break this gem. When it opens. Come on, open. Open, open, open. Oh, look back. Coming this way. Hi. Get the hell off me. Let's jump. Come here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? They're all hurt, except for this one. Early, ooh. I see her. Oh, nice. Didn't work a second time. Brought me to a gem. They are working on this gem. Ooh! That'd been sexy. I'm going right back over there. Oh, they got it done. Oh, Sable's there. Sable dear. Oh, nice. I didn't recover fast enough. Not bad. Oh, I'm so bad at this game. Gen done? What? Can't. Look at this right here. Get off of that. It's okay, they don't have eerie head, but I sure the fuck did waste it. Hey. What's up? Go ahead. Is that what all you wanted to do? Where are you? That's Hattie. Look at her. I see Hattie over here. I'm sitting here with her time together. I should do that. That's true. I want her to take things to the pallet. Go to the pallet. But she's playing with me. And that's okay. That is okay. I hear them here. Sable's dumb. Sable, what are you doing, girl? You don't even know where I'm at. LOL. I'm not better than tunneling, to be honest. I want them off of this shit. Yeah, get the fuck out. I want you dead. I want you to get hit. That gen is almost finished then. As well. Hi, Evil King. You being a savage today? A little bit. A little bit. We got some bullet point bonus here, so I wanted to play some killer matches. But they're honestly working my ass. I'm gonna have to, look, I want them off. It's okay. Ah, stupid bitch! I'm so evil. That's fine. Yeah, I don't get that gen progress. Yeah, go ahead, go for hook. Go for hook. Sable's going to get this girl. Look at Sable, look at Sable. I knew it. Oh, she's just better than me. I whiff on everything. Oh, there's a pallet there. What am I doing? Yeah, get off that. Oh, dramaturgy. I just watched you go ham. I forgot that pallet was there. I'm gonna camp this gen. Somebody has to go to something else. Look at that. Yeah, move. I'm not not chasing you. I'm gonna go after you, Hattie. Hattie's dead. I'm gonna watch this channel. She went up. Crazy person. Ooh! Yeah, get off! Haha. She wants it so bad. I'm not gonna give it to her. I need to figure out where this Steve went. Look at him. He doesn't want to take a hook at all. In his dramaturgy, having an said, go ahead. He doesn't want to take a hook. I'm gonna keep this. They're working on that one. Yeah, they were. So this is. Steve probably went back. Oh, there's one back there. I didn't notice. Wait, these three are in a straight line. Oh, look at that. They all need to like rush this gen immediately. Look at this. Oh, I missed by like 0 centimeters. See, killer is hard. I feel like killer is way harder than survivor. I just have no instincts as a killer. They're easy working on main. I'm not above Jane camping. I'm not above it. I'm not above it. Look. Bitch. Try again, ho. Dramaturgy won't save you this time. They got it done. They got it done. Oh my god, did they just like triple that one? Okay. Oh my god, Sable, girl. Okay, GG. They're gonna get the Steve. That's fine. I can get one. I'll get one, and you guys can keep Steve. I'll take Sable. And you guys can take Steve. I'll let you have Steve. Why was Sable being heroic? Silly girl. Oh. Why did he die too? Oh, because they left him. You guys are horrible teammates. You guys just left Steve. You guys didn't even try. Oh my god. Curly had one hook. So did Steve. They could have saved Steve for sure. GG's. Good try, guys. I don't even know what my... Oh, see, I don't even have a tone selected. I'm literally only doing this because there's, blood points. Evil King, are you still playing with Wolfie? How are your games? Haunted Ground, I guess. Vox! I was Steve! Oh, GG, Steve. I'm sorry they left you. I'm sorry they left you in the hook. How are you doing, Vox? Vox, how are you? How was your day? Yeah, with work, it's just one of those Mondays. I completely understand. Work for me wasn't too bad. Still working? No, it's 7 o'clock. You shouldn't be working anymore. Oh wait, no, I have to change my to Haunted Ground. What do I have to do with Haunted Ground? Just expose somebody? Like, use it? Do I have to, yeah. Hit a survivor suffering from the exposed stabs. Oh. No, just watching Wolfie play. Oh, okay. Why aren't you playing anymore, Evil King? Vox, what do you do for work? That it has you working late. I'm working late. Evil King, how was your day? What did you do today? Did you work today? Oh! Never. Evil King, what? What is this I'm hearing? You're an event planner? Ooh, that sounds fun. I've planned a few events in my day. I don't want Haunted Ground, but here we are. And I have Eerie Head, so we're gonna just try to get some kills. Oh, look at them. Look at them right here. Hey, girl. Whoa! Go, go, go. Run, Ash, run. Inside. Ooh! I hate this sometimes. Hi, Ronnie. Que mira que killer. Hey. What I do? I don't know. I don't know. I was asking if you were working today. Hi, Ronnie. How are you? Guys, don't forget to check in with your channel points. Oh wait. Let me turn on streamer bot first. Then you can check in. Yes, get your first in. I love this. Steve, another Steve. Oh, I'm so bad at the game. No, it didn't work. This is streamer bot. I always have to have streamer bot open. I always forget. I wish I was first. I know, I'm sorry. Ronnie, how was your day? How was your stream earlier? I was in there like in and out, but I was working today, so I really couldn't hang out today. I don't really know where anybody is. I want them to get rid of my haunted ground. No. Big chillin', warming up for. Ooh, tamales. I just had a biscuit with cheese and salami. Oh! I'm bad. Everybody's getting their hopes on me. That's how I feel when I play killer matches. Look, they have 2 gens done. I'm actually trash. Oh, I actually made it around that time too. Guys, can someone just look at him being a freak? Oh! Guys, I'm so bad. That was green streaming, not me. Wait, no, didn't you stream earlier today, or were you streaming yesterday? When were you playing Faz? Was that yesterday? I'm thinking of your stream. I promise I'm not crazy. Get off of this! Go away! Go! Go! Get out of here! You're not gonna touch my haunted ground. I don't want you over here. You definitely were streaming. He's gonna hit it.
Whoa!
That's right. Get scared. Get scared of my swing. Get scared of my swing. When were you playing Faz, Ronnie? I'm totally thinking of your stream. Get the hell out of my face, Ace. Damn, they have 3 guns done. I'm so bad. M1 all over these fools. I have Eerie Head. I don't have any more hatchets. If I had more hatchets, I probably would try, but they're not even touching my haunted ground. They're not. They don't even care. Yesterday. That's what I was thinking about yesterday. I promise I was thinking of your stream. I just thought you streamed early in the morning. So. But yeah, it was green today. You're right. But I totally was thinking of you. I just could have sworn it was today. Look, there's no pallet left. Is this how you want to go out, Steve? M&M's? I love that name. Is this my haunted ground one? They got that one done. Incredible work. Excuse me. Is that Ash? Do I want to kill Ash? I do want to kill Ash. Oh, he's just better than me. It's official. Where is he? I'm gonna go right. I'm just gonna like hook camp. On my way to this hook, I'm gonna go here. Whee! Damn, they got the heal off already. Oh my god, look at them. Look at them all running like little ants. Gotta catch them all. No one's working on that one over there. They're trying to get this one in. Let's see. I don't want Steve. Actually, I could probably kill Steve. Oh, finesse. Love that for you. Oh, you're not in there? He's in the back. Yep. I see you, girl. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not even gonna go for the swing. Now I am. What the? Like, what you doing, bro? I'll take you. Everyone else can stay alive. You must die. I apparently am terrible at keeping my schedule. Oh, was it late last night? Me blending the nighttime with the morning. Schedule stream date. What do you mean? I have a really hard time with my stream schedule too, but I try to at least stream on the same days every time I stream. Like, even though sometimes I do want to stream on like a Tuesday, it just doesn't fit with my. No, don't get that window, girl. You can't get that window. I don't want you in that window. Watch. Wow. She went back in. She's trying for that window. She went upstairs. What's this? She's over there. I try to stream on the same day so that people know, like, oh, Justin could be streaming on Monday, you know? I am really bad at my schedule. I just have a hard time with schedules. And some days I'm just not feeling it. And I told, like, you know, not always. Some days just get lost in the sauce. I want her. I want this Nia. But they're working on something somewhere else. Where's the other gens? Oh, over there. Are they working on this one? Yes, they are. Look at them. Somebody got rid of. Who's exposed? Which one of these hoes? I need to hit them. I need to hit them. they go? I needed to hit them. I should have just watched. I don't even know. Oh. Is it you? Did you get rid of my haunted ground? Ew. Stop it. Oh, I'm so bad at the game. Oh, I did it, guys! I did it! Where are you? It's okay. I'm gonna, I did the challenge, so I'm just gonna drop her here. I'm gonna go to the door and drop her. I'll let you out. Get the fuck out of here. Go! Get out! Get out! Go! 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 Get out! Hey! Get out! Like, damn. Giving me a hard time. I got Steve. I think that's all I came here for was Steve, you know? Let me break this. Get some extra points. I think I get... Oh, yeah. I got my tome done. As long as I can get the tome done, I'm not really that mad about it. I'm just here for the blood points. You know what I mean? Okay. Break that. What else can I do? I already broke that one. I think there's another one back here I can break. Finally. Like, sir, what are you waiting for? Ronnie, do you have anything fun planned this week? How are the kiddos? How's school for them? How was your weekend, Ronnie? Besides Sunday, since I was there. Watch her trying to get that unbreakable value and you robbed her. Well, she robbed me of another kill. So. Let's see. Me going through all the tomes. I have to take a protection hit as David King. I need to sacrifice. Oh my god, this is so hard. During endgame. What is it? What is the perk I have to use? Spirit Fury. There you go. Oh, that's what it, each time you after you break 2 pallets, the next time you are stunned by a pallet, the entity will instantly break the pallet and you will suffer from the stun. You will still suffer from the stun. Oh. Decide, nothing planned this week. Everyone is back in school and back to work. Oh. What do you do for work, Ronnie? If you don't mind me asking. I forgot killers have tomes too. Yes. Dude, also, oh, I can't show you. See, the tomes should be available in this screen. I don't know why they're not. I had the whole first tome done, like completely done. I pride myself in things like that, like completions. So I'm just working on the tomes. Caregiver to my youngest kiddo. Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. I love that. I bet you guys are really close then, since you guys had to spend so much time together. I'm sorry if I'm supposed to already know some of this. I don't know if I've ever actually asked. How old is your is the kiddo? The youngest one anyway. Alright. Oh, this is like a really cringe map for me. Also, I still have haunted ground for some reason. 2 of you. You know what? I'll take it. Oh, I missed! Sometimes you just gotta try it though, you know? It's like... And you... Try again. Milkers. Oh! Oh! Why did he DC? Guy, it's the first knock! Bro, she's 12, middle school. Middle school is the first year I ever, like that's like the grade I started teaching. Why did he DC? It's the first knock. It was never that deep, guys. I love middle school age. That's like a really fun age. You teach? I used to work in schools as like marry me. I used to work in schools. I want to kill this Rick. No one's allowed to get him. I want this Rick and everyone else can get out. That's how I feel. I used to teach middle school, and then when I moved out here, I started working in high schools as a credit recovery manager. Make sure students were on track to graduate. And I would offer remedial like those courses for them to complete. Don't you guys understand? Oh, they let the Rick die. Good for you guys. You guys know better. Education nonprofit. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I see. That is. I think teaching was a lot of fun, and it was great to like make relationships with students. But being in schools is very hard, and there's a lot about teaching they don't teach you. Honestly, I'm just gonna get my little hooks on. And then you know her oh yes. Hi Ben. Yeah, so I was helping a lot of high school students just get their credits back when I first moved. Now I work at a law firm. But I have tons of different experiences. I've worked in all kinds of stuff. I want him to come down here. Just go. Oh, he doesn't see me because I have fucking undetectable. Oh, I'm so dumb. I should have just... Up you go. Jump. Mallet. Hey Ben, how are you? Yes, everything's great. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope everybody's staying warm. Honestly, it's been freezing. And so cold here. I'm gonna let them out, but like I'm not gonna really go for a deep chase if I don't have to. Look at that. Oh, it's Leon. I'll take you. Sorry, Leon. Well, if the Laura would come out and take a hook. Yes, okay, I hope you're hanging in there. What respect I have for homies in the teaching field. Teaching is no joke, and I think like I grew up around a lot of people who thought teaching would be like a default thing, like, oh, I'll just be a teacher, you know. But there's actually so much that goes into teaching if you want to be a good teacher, you know. That is very true. If you ever get a chance to talk, yes, of course. And if you don't have me on Discord, please add me on Discord and join the Discord. I really only use it to announce when I'm streaming. Otherwise, Leon, why are you still over here? Maybe I won't let them. Negative 16? Dude, it was literally negative 22 last week. Yeah, people underestimate teachers. I have so much respect for teachers and people who work in education. Although, I will say, and in my opinion, there's a generation of educators who kind of messed up the value of teaching, and like, I think people my age and younger are really doing a good job of the haunted ground. Oh, are really doing a good job of maintaining the integrity of like mentorship and advocacy when it comes to teaching. I think that's a lost art. I've worked with a lot of teachers who don't do that, and I think that was also pretty disheartening when I was in school, like when I was in the classroom, because I didn't like that my peers didn't like teaching. You know, like I loved teaching. That was like the best part of teaching was being in front of students in the classroom and like getting to know them and helping them learn and like getting to that with them. Like that was important to me, was when they were able to achieve something. That was like the most validating and important thing to me. Was like, oh, they actually understand it. Like I'm doing a good job of like showing them how to learn this. ESL, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, it's 59. I wish it was 55 degrees here, Vox. I should just. Sneak up on them. See? They're gonna try to hit the gen. I'm gonna scare them. Look, when I say get off the gen, I mean get off the gen. Go do another gen. Where's this Bill? Where's this Bill? Hiding from me? Bill, where are you? The way Bill just left her is crazy. Just these two gens left? Gen was 99.9%, I know. The Bill's just gonna keep this hatch, I guess. Guys, did I turn on the survivors? I did. Does that make me a bad killer? Actually, it kind of makes me their best killer. I definitely said because Rick bought it out that I would let them go. I think I'm gonna kill that Bill. Show me where Bill is. Laura, take me to Bill. Take me to Bill. Take me to Bill. Take me to Bill. Why are you saving Bill? Oh, Billiam. Billiam, I know you're hiding from me. Don't you hide from me, Billiam. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. You'll never suspect a thing. Okay, I'm gonna get this, and then I'm gonna go downstairs. Go downstairs. Let them go. I know, but I want to talk to both of them. Let my people go. I want to talk to both of them. Bill, I want to know where you are. Come on, come get Laura. She just... Oh, I found Bill. Hey. Come here. Hey, yo. Hey. Come here. Hey. Come on, guys. Why are you running from me? Why are you running? Me letting Laura go. Because Bill's being weird. Get. I'm gonna go break. They don't understand I'm on their side. Do the gen, Bill. Stop being a bitch. Come back over here. Stop letting Laura do all the work. You freak. It's okay, Laura. Hey, hey.
Whoa!
Get off. No, get off.
Whoa!
Get off. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Whoa! Whoa!
Don't worry, I'll do it with you, Laura. You got this, Laura. Go, go, go.
Whoa!
Go, go, go.
Whoa! Whoa!
The clang of the metal.
Whoa! Whoa!
I scared her.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Vox, you have unlocked the mercy in me.
Whoa!
I know I said I would let them all go.
Whoa! Whoa!
I'm working on it with you, girl. There you go. Hey. Get off. I want to open the door. Go. Get out of here. You earned it. Go, go, go. Go. Get. I'll let Bill figure out what he's missing out on. You unlocked the teacher in me, literally. I felt like I remembered who I used to be. I remember the kindness. Ready, guys? Ready, guys? I remember the kindness. And my whole soul floats up. The boy's almost home. Okay. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. I hope you guys can come in and hang out later. Oh, look. Is Bill here?
Whoa!
Right. I don't even know what you were saying. Because I was trying to help you out.
Whoa!
Bang, bang, bang. That's how I feel when I'm a killer. I'm like, I'm evil. Trying to get them all. You know what I mean? But I got I got my challenge done. That's all I needed. Oh, I didn't get the challenge done. Wait, what am I supposed to do? Oh, break 4 pallets. Okay, so maybe I do take chase. I thought I was... Why did I still think I was in the hunting ground one? Ow. Oh, cut on my hand. Cut on my hand. Box, when do you usually end work? PM latest. Are you working on like a huge project right now, like a huge event? Guys, I have to take chase. Do you get to work from home at least, Fox? No. Oh. 100% remote. Love to see it. Oh, look at it. just saw somebody here. It gets them every time! It gets them every single time! I'm so sorry! It gets them every time. Bro, the eerie head for the win. On site for a conference? Ooh. Claudette. Oh, perfect. That's two. Oh, somehow I'm back on this girl. I don't want to be on you. Come on, drop the pallet. You know you want to. Nice. But why are you taking chase? Like, why didn't you let? Where are your teammates, friend? Where are your teammates? Why didn't they take your chase? Oh, right here. I want the Claudette, because this is who I was meant to have. I was meant to have Claudette. Go! Shoe with you. Girl. And this is just gonna help you die. Is this what you want? Come on, break the pallet. Like, why do you want this chase so bad? I'm not gonna take this, actually. I'm gonna go over here. I'll let you get off. It's not that deep. I wanted you to drop that pallet. Let's sneak up on whatever this is. That was coming. They could see it. Never went back for hook. Interesting. Not what I expected. I really enjoy working from home. Oh, look at that. I didn't even mean to come back to you guys. Oh. Interesting. What they going on here? Well, GG. Did they change how vials work? Fog vials work? I want to do this. They never came back down here. Interesting. They're right here. Oh, almost got him. Once. I actually do not like working from home. No way! But today is a good day to to work from home. Yeah. Today was definitely a good day to work from home. I like working from home some Mondays. Why don't you like working from home? Is it like a focus thing? 'Cause I have a hard time focusing when I'm home as well. I often have to like change locations. I like have to like sit at my dining room table or sit at my office desk, like this desk that I'm like streaming on, or oh fuck, which one was that? I didn't notice they were working on that one. Too busy focused on those two people. Or sometimes I'll sit on the couch with like I have like a side table that I use sometimes. They're healing now. Oh, they have this gen done? No. Where are they? Let's see, they just... No, I like talking a lot. Oh, yes! Wait, can I be so serious? That is so... I understand that so much. I like miss office culture. Yo. Oh, just a little higher. I want her to go. Just use your dead hard, it's fine. I'm gonna go over there. Oh, I'm so bad. Okay, I hit him once. I can actually put him on a hook. I really did like sitting in an office and like getting to know people. Like I like getting to know people. I think that's kind of like why I like Twitch a lot. And I try to like do my best to ask people questions about themselves or like put my best self out there on Twitch. Because I like to like small talk. Like it's easy for me to like just sit around and get to know somebody. What about in here? Am I working on this? They're working on these over here. They're working on this one. They're not even working on this one. They're back over there on that jet. What are they working on, guys? Oh, it's someone I know. Oh, the devil you know. She wants to take the chance to prove it to me. To prove it. To prove that she's meant to be. Damn, they're zooming. There she is. Damn, how did she hit me? I wasn't even near it. She is dead hard. I guess. I'll take this bitch. Since I can't have you, I'll take her. See, the thing is, I put on Eerie Head, and then I run out of it, and then I forget that I don't have any more. So then I forget that I can't really kill people with this. go back to this. Which one did they go to? Right here. Oh, look at them working on RC. Get off of that. Go away. The way I missed is crazy. I was pretty I just want to give her dead hard, you know? She wants it so bad. Where'd it go? Oh, there you are. Go, go, go! Alright, now I got you. GG. Oh, he's vaulting. They're gonna get that gen done, I fear. This gen. Oh look, she doesn't even know where I'm at. Goodbye. GG. Oh, look at Claudette. Yeah, girl, you're next. So ridiculously bad at this game, dude. Oh. Lunge. Got the lunge! Like girl. Like Miss Ma'am. GG's. Oh, sorry about it. That's what I need to be doing. Over here. Are you here? Ah, I found you! Oh, it's broken. Oops. I guess I'll go this way. And they're working on, Ace is working on this one. I'll break it again. No problem with that. I didn't break the gen. Oh wait, maybe I did break the gen in the house. Come on, take her off, take her off. She's just gonna go for it. No, come on, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Did I make? Why don't you guys want to play with me anymore? I don't hear it. It must be over here. Guys, I don't hear it. He's gonna find it before me. Guys, I don't hear it. Oh no, I don't know where it is. Guys, do you think he'll find it before me? He might. The way this song is playing, and I really thought it was his voice. I don't even hear it. Guys, where is this? It must be back here. Oh yeah, he found it. GG! I didn't even go back there. GG's. Yeah, though Yui wanted it. Good for her. Excuse me. What's this one? Ooh, interrupt and grab? Here. Let's take this off. I want my whispers back. Next survivor interact with the generator is faced with a difficult skill check. Ooh. Yeah, I like grilling tremors. Hey Alex, what's up? How are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Make sure you check in. Vox, if you haven't checked in already, you should check in. I think you did check in earlier when streamer bot was at. No, you didn't. You should check in. Alex, make sure you check in with your channel points. Got you a mini me, bet you wish you want. Hey Pookie. There you go. Hi. How you doing, babe? Never mind what you said last night. Every single day, once a time. Here we go. The door, the door. Not yawning. I have to interrupt and grab a survivor. Perfect. La 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 la. Da da da. They're up here. I don't have your head anymore, Justin. I hear them running. Damn, Speedy over here. She fell down. She did. She did indeed. I should have held it. That's when you hold it. Taco backpack. Okay, Nick Cage. Where are you going? Where are you going? Good job, Justin. Did I just say good job, Justin? Oh, there's someone here. Someone was here. Easy. Oh. I'm not close enough to him. He's not gonna go for it. Did he stop? Did he stop? No. Did he stop? Ugh, that's what I want. I'm gonna break this. Yes, hit him again! They're on this. Ooh, Kate! Kate, what are you doing, girl? Is it your first day? Another Kate. I think this is the last time I can break this. I'm gonna go back and break that gen. Look at him right here. He wants to just loop me here. Look at that. Moving to break this. I want him to throw that pallet down. Look at this Nick again. Hi, Nick. Come here. Baby girl. Let me see your ass. Let me see you twirl. Come here, Nick Cage. Oh, I'm bad at the game. Alright, and then I'm gonna go break this. Okay, it's broken still. Oh, never! Damn! Y'all are just better. I don't know what to tell you. No! It's the recovery from throwing that apple is so slow. It's like you have to block the pallet. You have to call the bluff that they're not going to just stand there. I don't even know who I'm chasing, to be honest. Look at it right there. Oh, and Nick. Oh, Nikki. Nikki. Oh, look, there's another gen done. That's exactly what I wanted to do. They don't want me to hook you. Where's your Kate now to save you? Nowhere. Guys, I'm actually trash a killer. Like, they are eating me alive. I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna switch to Survivor after this. I need to interrupt one of you. Come back. Damn, vaulting is so crazy. It's okay, girl. We all have to get hooked from time to time. Oh, I remember you. Oh, so close. Oh my god, he wants this loop so bad. I need to go back over here, actually. Break her gen. I got it! I got the grab! GG's, Amish gamer. Thank you for the tone. Well. And then there were 3. Look at this. There it was. He's gonna try to get me around. Try again, girl. Try again. Not very powerful without that loop, huh? Because God knows I was not gonna get you without it. Oh, this one's broken. Oh my god, he's gonna come out. He's gonna literally wiggle free. Oh, I'm so pissed. Okay, he's gonna throw a pallet. Well, this is not how I intended things to go. I couldn't find a single hook. Yeah, they get out. GG. Look at them right there. Get out. Just go. Why? Go find Hatch, bitch. Go ahead. Nope. Stupid. GG's. Let me work this for. Oh no, I didn't get to it in time. They needed to get those extra points, I guess, from blinding me. Enough of this garbage gameplay from me. We've done enough tomes. Yes, hit him again. It's so funny. I wish I could play Survivor. No, I don't want to play Survivor. Let's just do this. Alright, where are we at in the tome? Oh, David King. Okay, protection hit. David King, protection hit. Where's David? David! David! There you are. Alright, we're gonna play some Survivor games. We have two TT viewers. Wait, let's see if they're on. Brave Reality. They are on. And I think they're duoing with Starshine. Let's see. Oh, that person does not exist. Alright. We got this. Me and Brave Reality got this. Slippery meat! Ah! We have slippery meat and conviction, bro. This is gonna Sorry. Nancy, get the hell out of here. Here, you know what, Nancy? I'll work on this with you. Hey! Nancy's like, let me out. He's looking. Did Did he see me is the question. Did he actually see me? Oh! With his tentacles and everything. Okay, wait, I have slippery meat, guys. Wait. I think this is the moment. This is the moment of truth. Oh, hey. Don't mind me just hanging. Why are you just standing there? Wait, why are you just standing there? Does he not see you? Are you bugged out? What happened to him? Oh, I'm gonna try. Okay, wait. This isn't enough. I'm gonna leave. Oh my god, that didn't even hit? What was happening? Oh, hell no. He's gonna tunnel me, it seems. Oh, he's left me alone. I'm gonna get this done. Okay, now that that's done, let me go back to the gen I was working on. Oh, they're here. Let's go, we did it! Oh shit. Get my conviction. Good job, guys. Put this medkit back here. Guys, let's just get on the gen. I think that's the most important thing, huh? Oh, he's hunting for scratch marks. He's on the other two. Run, Brave, run! Well, he didn't know there was a hook there. He didn't even know. Hi, Nancy. Bye, Nancy. Got a blast. He's gonna try to get all the way up here. You see me running. You see me rolling. Hey, 10. Okay, I'm going for hook now. She's on the Nancy. Hey, coming. I got you. Come on, just pop the gen. What are we doing? Pop the gen, pop the gen. Come on, let's just double this one. Yeah, exactly. here it comes. He's over there. He's over there. Dude, I've been working on this gen forever. Hey. Come on, quick, quick, quick. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Let's go! You ate! Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Yes! Let's go! Go, 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 go! I'll take him away. He left me. Why? Come back here! I want you to chase me! Guys, I still didn't get the protection hit. I'm on a whole other gen. I have conviction as well. If he wants to bring the chase over here. Yeah, you should keep her on the gen. She can move. We just need to pop it. I'll take hits for him if he gets down. He's kind of eating up though. Hold it. Hold it. He's not even close. Hold the generator. There you go. Boo! Squidward! 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 Damn, he really doesn't want me. He doesn't want me to get chased. Is it the store? Please tell me it's the store. Oh hey! Hey! Oh, you want to heal here? I don't think that's the best idea. Oh, let's go. GG. GG's. Let me tell him GG's. Oh, not Gabe. Not Gabe. David. I forgot. I switched. I never got my protection hit, by the way. Yes, hit him again. Oh, that was still so funny. Every time I read it. Okay, I still have to take a protection hit. No calling your agenda. All right. Hi. I don't want to do like this. Oh, it's a Houndmaster. Lovely. Love that for us. I don't like Houndmaster. Houndmaster is another killer I think is pretty hard to be against. I'm sorry guys, I'm low-key bringing her here. Oh no. Alright, I'm gonna try to bring her this way. Damn, she had the angle on me. Wait, I kind of figured that out. Okay, I figured out her dash. I figured out her dash. Holy shit, no. Put me down. Incredible. Like if I could just get back up. She walked right past me. I'm sick. I am sick. She doesn't know where I am. LOL. Sable! Sable, bitch! Sable! They shouldn't pick me up. Let's see if she remembers to pick me up. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little hard to get to right
So.
now. Get out of the way. Oh no! No! I just watched that all happen. And this hook is back. We were messing around for 2 hooks. Or for 3 gens. Good try, Oliver. No! Stupid bitch. Gotta go. No! I'm too focused on the freaking dog! That's when I have to leave chase. Just go the other direction. Honestly, you guys can wait. You guys could have waited a little bit. Oh shit. Take this hit for me. There you go. Come here. I'm gonna heal you. I'm gonna heal. Stop moving! One gen left. This Sable can still afford a hook. I don't even know where this is happening. Oh, it's happening right behind us. Let's just triple, right? Fine! Here he comes! Oh, she is making her way downtown. Why are we all running this way? Oh, there's this gen too. Someone else needs to go for her. Oh my god. Help, help, help! Nice. If they can just chase her, like let her get chased. No, why is she silent? Why are you silent? You scary lady! No! Why are you silent? Why are you silent?
Why not?
Why are you silent? You're so scary! Why are you silent? What is this? Repress alliance? Ah. Interesting. So I guess I just didn't get it. Guys, there's 2 gens being worked on. Yes, please. Come on, double heal. And let's go back to that gen. Come. Come, come, come. Over here, over here. Look, 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 look. This way, this way. They're on a whole separate gen. So if I block the generator, it'll stop her from breaking, which is really nice. But the fact that she was silent is crazy. Take her back there. We still have this pallet too. She's on them. Wait, I'm gonna go back to my gen. Wait, 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 wait. I'm too far. That's like the issue. I took chase, but she didn't follow me. She didn't wanna chase. She's going back to the gen. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go right to it. Take the chase away, please. No, don't come this way, Sable, please. Sable, what are you doing, friend? She doesn't care about you. Oh, she left. She left the chase. Wait, what? What? I'm confused. Why did she leave you alone? Why did she leave you alone? Nice. I'm gonna go straight for a door. I'm scared. I'm so stressed. Sable, come here. I can heal you. Open it, open it, open it. Just open. I'm gonna heal you. She's gonna get knocked. She gets knocked, but it's fine. It's fine. Way to go. She either needs to get out or get knocked. No, stop crawling, stop crawling. Stop crawling, stop crawling. No. Oh, am I gonna have to leave? She's gonna force me out. She doesn't force me out. No! Please! Oh my god! Oh. Trying to save my friend! Oh, GG. GG to them. They tried really hard. She was not letting us go. I got scared. I thought she was gonna pick me up. Whew, but I got my protection hit. GG's, David. You did so good. Oh my god, we did it! Level 1 complete! Another David one. Escape as David. Escape as Jane. Maybe I should just do Jane. I'll do Jane. Okay. Actually, let's just do David since we already have one. That was fun. See, Survivor's just way more fun. This song is good. Alright, well, here we go again. Oh, sprint bursts, wiretap, adrenaline, Vommy Mommy. Running away immediately. She's over there. She's over there. Hi. But she was over there. She's Vommy Mommy. Is it sick? Yes, it is. No, don't come this way. Like, Alita, what are you doing, friend? Go do what you gotta do. Why would she come back over that way, weirdo? Are you trying to get me killed? I can take a chase, but I was broken. She was looking for me. She just throws up on it. She didn't even break. She just threw up on it. She's trying to kill me. Oh, she's right there. What am I doing? I am not doing this right. I'm going back over here. I forgot to sprint burst. It's so annoying. Sorry, I'm gonna throw up on you. Make your choice! Girl, this is not cute. There's no point in... Maybe I should just take the hit. No. I can afford a hook. Ew. I don't even know where she is. She's up there. She must be. Missed me! I didn't mean to do that. Good job. Did she throw up on this? Oh, she definitely did. Again, bro. She's crazy. Hopefully that gives them time to finish that gen. That gen's still not done. Nice to get the. Oh my god, the hex is over. Thank god. But the magical gen. Please, somebody come get me. They're both on 2 different gens. That this gen was so close to finished. It was like over halfway, right? Come on, Quentin. Come on, Quentin, run. Come on, Quentin, run. We're almost done. We're right for this gen. This isn't even it. This isn't even it. I'm just gonna heal. Quentin's done for. I'm gonna heal. Please, Kate, finish the gen. Here we go. We're gonna be free. Thank you, Quentin. Goodbye, girls. I hope you make it out. Sorry, Quentin. That chase was incredible, though. We needed that chase. What are they doing over there? Oh, time for Jane. Miss Jane, where are you? There you are. Oh, I have no customizations for her. So sad. Wait, let's see. Oh, new hair alert. Oh, these glasses are cute. Oh. Is this a backpack? Wait, that's so cute. A little backpack. Oh, is this? Oh my god. Oh, it's like a full body. What cute outfits. Let's go for some flashes. Let's show merchants, shall we? scratch my back. Ba, 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 ba. Oh my god. Tommy Toe Tickler, Johnny Nipple Flipper, and Benedict Bong Gripper. Okay. I see the vision. All right, guys, I believe in y'all. We're all gonna show them our tits, okay? I believe in us. Oh my god, it's a nemesis. There he is. What are you doing, sir? You know that I'm right here? Who are you chasing? Oh, he is chasing someone. Oh my god, not Kate. I'm gonna go over here. The nipple flipper. Hey. No, you don't want to be my friend? Cool. No! Okay, let me heal you first. I got you, I got you. There. No need to cry. And now you can spare yourself. I see him, he's over there. I'm gonna go do this generous. Look at that, there's a pallet dropped. Oh damn. Oh Timmy. The power of friendship. today, mister. Oh, he actually hit me. Oh, I'm so bad. No, please. No, no. Wait, I thought you guys would have finished the gen or something. Maybe I didn't get chased long enough. Well, at least I'm away from that. It'll give them time. Wait, someone's standing still. Why? Let me read my breakdown. Anytime removing her hook, hook breaks. And this is while dying state recovery progression. Timmy, finish! Nice. They're going after Johnny's gen. Kate? This hook kind of hurts. Please. Come on, Kate, please. Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Bong Ripper. Valiant effort. GG's, let's go. I'm still chasing Johnny, but Johnny is running toward me. I was like, damn, good try. That's his first hook. I don't know what gen that he was working on. Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna go. I don't know why she's rummaging through chests. Do no harm. That's lovely. Come on, come on. Come on, Johnny, let's go. Johnny, come with me. God. Oh, the save. They got the save off. I'm just gonna work on this gen then. So bad. He's so blind, he's walking the whole other way. Bye, bye, Mr. Zombie. I'm gonna finish the gen, because I guess you guys are both getting chased. This is not good. No. Johnny, go for hook, please. Get out. I'm gonna go straight for. Oh. He might be looking for me. Someone moving that way. mean teammates. Actually, fuck it. I'm gonna work on this. Zombies too. I'm not trying to get hit by zombies. Run. Anything fun over here? He's on a mission. I can respect that. No! It's hard to see! I tried, guys. It's hard to see over the fucking canisters. I'm hoping I got him far enough away. Why are two of them working on a whole different gen? I'm so confused by them. Okay, I'm gonna hold this, I guess. I have a feeling they're gonna come and save me. No! Guys! Guys, please. One on the gen. One on the gen. Just sneeze on it. Oh my god, it got hit. No. If all three of them were on the one gen, I think we would have done fine. I'm pretty sure we would have gotten out fine. They had all just pushed to one gen. Heal me. Oh yeah, actually you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This way. He's right behind me, isn't he? I don't know where the other door is. I didn't know where the other door was. No. I'm so confused by how they were playing. Like it was giving they were on the. It was giving they were on the same team. Wow. I guess. I think they were on the same team. Anyways. Alright, y'all. GG's. I am signing off there, I think. That was fun. That was a longer stream than normal. Thanks everybody for coming and checking in. I will talk to you all soon.